Chapter 17. It is 1 year and 8 months since I looked at these notes, and only now in sadness and dejection it has occurred to me to read them through. So I stopped then at my going to Hamburg. My God! With what a light heart, comparatively speaking, I wrote those last lines. Though not with a light heart exactly, but with a sort of self-confidence, with undaunted hopes. Had I any doubt of myself? And now more than 1.5 years has passed, and I am, to my own mind, far worse than a beggar. Yes, what is being a beggar? A beggar is nothing. I have simply ruined myself. However, there is nothing I can compare myself with, and there is no need to give myself a moral lecture. Nothing could be stupider than moral reflections at this date. Oh, self-satisfied people, with what proud satisfaction these prattlers prepare to deliver their lectures! If only they knew how thoroughly I understand the loathsomeness of my present position, they would not be able to bring their tongues to reprimand me. Why, what? What can they tell me that I do not know? And is that the point? The point is that one turn of the wheel and all will be changed, and those very moralists will be the first, I am convinced of that, to come up to congratulate me with friendly jests. And they will not all turn away from me as they do now. But hang them all! What am I now? 0. What may I be tomorrow? Tomorrow I may rise from the dead and begin to live again. There are still the makings of a man in me. I did, in fact, go to Hamburg then, but afterwards I went to Roulettenberg again, and to Spa. I have even been in Baden, where I went as valet to the Councillor Ginza, a scoundrel who was my master here. Yes, I was a lackey for 5 whole months. I got a place immediately after coming out of prison. I was sent to prison in Roulettenberg for a debt I made here. Someone, I don't know who, paid my debt. Who was it? Was it Mr. Astley? Polina? I don't know, but the debt was paid, 200 thalers in all, and I was set free. What could I do? I entered the service of this Ginza. He is a young man and frivolous. He liked to be idle, and I could read and write in 3 languages. At first I went into his service as a sort of secretary at 30 guldens a month, but I ended by becoming a regular valet. He had not the means to keep a secretary, and he lowered my wages. I had nowhere to go. I remained, and in that way became a lackey by my own doing. I had not enough to eat or to drink in his service, but on the other hand, in 5 months I saved up 70 gulden. One evening in Baden, however, I announced to him that I intended parting from him. The same evening I went to roulette. Oh, how my heart beat! No, it was not money that I wanted. All that I wanted then was that next day all these Ginzes, all these Oberkellners, all these magnificent Baden ladies, that they might be all talking about me, repeating my story, wondering at me, admiring me, praising me, and doing homage to my new success. All these are childish dreams and desires, but who knows? Perhaps I should meet Polina again, too. I should tell her, and she would see that I was above all these stupid ups and downs of fate. Oh, it was not money that was dear to me. I knew I should fling it away to some Blanche again, and should drive in Paris again for 3 weeks with a pair of my own horses, costing 16,000 francs. I know for certain that I am not mean. I believe that I am not even a spendthrift, And yet with what a tremor, with what a thrill at my heart, I hear the croupiers cry, 31, rouge, impair passe, or 4, noir, pair manque. With what avidity I look at the gambling table on which louis d'or, Friedrich's d'or, and thalers lie scattered, on the piles of gold when they are scattered from the croupier's shovel like glowing embers, or at the piles of silver a yard high that lie round the wheel. Even on my way to the gambling hall, as soon as I hear, 2 rooms away, the clink of the scattered money, I almost go into convulsions. Oh, that evening, when I took my 70 gulden to the gambling table, was remarkable too. I began with 10 gulden, staking them again on passe. I have a prejudice in favor of passe. I lost. I had 60 gulden left in silver money. I thought a little and chose 0. I began staking 5 gulden at a time on 0. At the 3rd turn, the wheel stopped at 0. I almost died of joy when I received 175 gulden. I had not been so delighted when I won 100,000 gulden. I immediately staked 100 gulden on rouge. It won. The 200 on rouge. It won. The whole of the 400 on noir. It won. The whole 800 on manque. It won. All together with what I had before, it made 1,700 gulden, and that in less than 5 minutes. Yes, at moments like that one forgets all one's former failures. Why, I had gained this by risking more than life itself. I dared to risk it. And there I was again, a man among men. I took a room at the hotel, locked myself in, and sat till 3 o'clock counting over my money. In the morning I woke up, no longer a lackey. I determined the same day to go to Hamburg. I had not been a lackey or been in prison there. Half an hour before my train left, I set off to stake on 2 hazards, no more, and lost 1,500 florins. Yet I went to Hamburg all the same, and I have been here for a month. I am living, of course, in continual anxiety. I play for the tiniest stakes, and I keep waiting for something, calculating, standing for whole days at the gambling table and watching the play. I even dream of playing. But I feel that in all this I have, as it were, grown stiff and wooden, as though I had sunk into a muddy swamp. I gather this from my feeling when I met Mr. Astley. We had not seen each other since that time, and we met by accident. This was how it happened. I was walking in the gardens and reckoning that now I was almost without money, but that I had 50 gulden, and that I had, moreover, 3 days before paid all I owed at the hotel. And so it was possible for me to go once more to roulette. If I were to win anything, I might be able to go on playing. If I lost, I should have to get a lackey's place again, if I did not come across Russians in want of a tutor. Absorbed in these thoughts, I went my daily walk, across the park and the forest in the adjoining principality. Sometimes I used to walk like this for 4 hours at a time, and go back to Hamburg hungry and tired. I had scarcely gone out of the gardens in the park, when suddenly I saw on one of the seats Mr. Astley. He saw me before I saw him, and called to me. I sat down beside him. Detecting in him a certain dignity of manner, I instantly moderated my delight, though I was awfully delighted to see him. "And so you are here. I thought I should meet you," he said to me. "Don't trouble yourself to tell me your story. I know all about it. I know every detail of your life during this last year and 8 months. Bah, what a watch you keep on your old friends, I answered. It is very creditable in you not to forget. Stay, though, you have given me an idea. Wasn't it you bought me out of prison at Roulettenberg, where I was imprisoned for debt for 200 gulden? Some unknown person paid it for me. No, oh no, it was not I who bought you out when you were in prison at Roulettenberg for a debt of 200 gulden. But I knew that you were imprisoned for a debt of 200 gulden. Then you know who did pay my debt? Oh, no, I can't say that I know who bought you out. Strange. I don't know any of our Russians. Besides, the Russians here, I imagine, would not do it. At home in Russia, the Orthodox may buy out other Orthodox Christians. I thought it must have been some eccentric Englishman who did it as a freak. Mr. Astley listened to me with some surprise. I believe he had expected to find me dejected and crushed. I am very glad, however, to find that you have quite maintained your independence of spirit, and even your cheerfulness, he pronounced with a rather disagreeable air. That is, you are chafing inwardly with vexation at my not being crushed and humiliated, I said, laughing. He did not at once understand, but when he understood, he smiled. I like your observations. I recognize in those words my clever, enthusiastic, and at the same time cynical old friend. Only Russians can combine in themselves so many opposites at the same time. It is true, a man likes to see even his best friend humiliated. A great part of friendship rests on humiliation. But in the present case I assure you that I am genuinely glad that you are not dejected. Tell me, do you intend to give up gambling? Oh, damn! I shall give it up at once as soon as you have won back what you have lost? Just what I thought. You didn't say any more. I know. You have spoken unawares, and so you have spoken the truth. Tell me, have you any occupation except gambling? No, none. He began cross-examining me. I knew nothing. I scarcely looked into the newspapers, and had literally not opened a single book all that time. You've grown rusty, he observed. You have not only given up life, all your interests, private and public, the duties of a man and a citizen, your friends, and you really had friends. You have not only given up your objects, such as they were, all but gambling. You have even given up your memories. I remember you at an intense and ardent moment of your life, but I am sure you have forgotten all the best feelings you had then. Your dreams, your most genuine desires now do not rise above pair, impair, rouge, noir, the 12 middle numbers, and so on, I am sure. Enough, Mr. Astley, please, please don't remind me, I cried with vexation, almost with anger. Let me tell you, I've forgotten absolutely nothing, but I've only for a time put everything out of my mind, even my memories, until I can make a radical improvement in my circumstances. Then you will see I shall rise again from the dead. You will be here still in 10 years' time, he said. I bet you I shall remind you of this on this very seat if I'm alive. Well, that's enough, I interrupted impatiently. And to prove to you that I am not so forgetful of the past, let me ask, where is Miss Polina now? If it was not you who got me out of prison, it must have been her doing. I have had no news of her of any sort since that time." "No, oh no, I don't believe she did buy you out. She's in Switzerland now, and you'll do me a great favour if you leave off asking about Miss Polina," he said resolutely, and even with some anger. "That means that she has wounded you very much." I laughed with displeasure. "Miss Polina is of all people deserving of respect the very best. But I repeat, you will do me a great favour if you cease questioning me concerning Miss Polina. You never knew her, and her name on your lips I regard as an insult to my moral feelings." "You don't say so." "You are wrong, however. Besides, what have I to talk to you about except that? Tell me that. Why, all our memories really amount to that. Don't be uneasy, though. I don't want to know your private, secret affairs. I am only interested, so to say, in Miss Polina's external affairs. That you could tell me in a couple of words." "Certainly, on condition that with those 2 words all is over. Miss Polina was ill for a long time. She's ill even now. For some time she stayed with my mother and sister in the north of England. 6 months ago, her grandmother, you remember that mad woman, died and left her, personally, a fortune of £7,000. At the present time, Miss Polina is travelling with the family of my married sister. Her little brother and sister, too, were provided for by their grandmother's will, and are at school in London. The General, her stepfather, died a month ago in Paris of a stroke. Mademoiselle Blanche treated him well, but succeeded in getting possession of all he received from the grandmother. I believe that's all." "And de Greux? Is not he travelling in Switzerland too?" "No, de Greux is not travelling in Switzerland, and I don't know where de Greux is. Besides, once for all, I warn you to avoid such insinuations and ungentlemanly coupling of names, or you will certainly have to answer for it to me." "What, in spite of our friendly relations in the past?" "Yes, in spite of our friendly relations in the past." "I beg 1,000 pardons, Mr. Astley. But allow me, though, there is nothing insulting or ungentlemanly about it. I am not blaming Miss Polina for anything. Besides, a Frenchman and a Russian young lady, speaking generally, it's a combination, Mr. Astley, which is beyond your or my explaining or fully comprehending. If you will not mention the name of de Greux in company with another name, I should like you to explain what you mean by the expression of the Frenchman and the Russian young lady. What do you mean by that combination? Why the Frenchman exactly, and why the Russian young lady?" "You see, you are interested. But that's a long story, Mr. Astley. You need to understand many things first. But it is an important question, however absurd it may seem at first sight. The Frenchman, Mr. Astley, is the product of a finished, beautiful tradition. You, as a Briton, may not agree with this. I, as a Russian, do not either, from envy, maybe. But our young ladies may be of a different opinion. You may think Racine artificial, affected, and perfumed. Probably you won't even read him. I, too, think him artificial, affected, and perfumed. From one point of view, even absurd. But he is charming, Mr. Astley, and what is more, he is a great poet, whether we like it or not. The national type of Frenchman, or rather of Parisian, had been moulded into elegant forms while we were still bears. The Revolution inherited the traditions of the aristocracy. Now even the vulgarist Frenchman has manners, modes of address, expressions, and even thoughts of perfectly elegant form, though his own initiative, his own soul and heart, have had no part in the creation of that form. It has all come to him through inheritance. Well, Mr. Astley, I must inform you now that there is not a creature on the earth more confiding and more candid than a good, clean, and not too sophisticated Russian girl. Degrue, appearing in a peculiar role, masquerading, can conquer her heart with extraordinary ease. He has the elegance of form, Mr. Astley, and the young lady takes this form for his individual soul, as the natural form of his soul and his heart, and not as an external garment which has come to him by inheritance. Though it will greatly displease you, I must tell you that Englishmen are for the most part awkward and inelegant, and Russians are rather quick to detect beauty and are eager for it. But to detect beauty of soul and originality of character needs incomparably more independence and freedom than is to be found in our women, above all in our young ladies, and of course ever so much more experience. Miss Polina, forgive me, the word is spoken and one can't take it back, needs a long, long time to bring herself to prefer you to the scoundrel Degrue. She thinks highly of you, becomes your friend, opens all her heart to you. But yet the hateful scoundrel, the base and petty money-grubber Degrue will still dominate her heart. Mere obstinacy and vanity, so to say, will maintain his supremacy, because at one time this Degrue appeared to her with the halo of an elegant marquis, a disillusioned liberal, who was supposed to have ruined himself to help her family and her frivolous stepfather. All these shams have been discovered later on. But the fact that they have been discovered makes no difference. Anyway, what she wants is the original Degrue. That's what she wants. And the more she hates the present Degrue, the more she pines for the original one, though he existed only in her imagination. You are a sugar-boiler, Mr. Astley. Yes, I am a partner in the well-known firm, Lovell and Company. Well, you see, Mr. Astley, on one side, a sugar-boiler, and on the other, Apollo Belvedere. It is somewhat incongruous. And I am not even a sugar-boiler. I am simply a paltry gambler at roulette, and have even been a lackey, which I think Miss Polina knows very well, as I fancy she has good detectives. You are exasperated, and that is why you talk all this nonsense, Mr. Astley said coolly, after a moment's thought. Besides, there is nothing original in what you say. I admit that. But the awful thing is, my noble friend, that however stale, however hackneyed, however farcical my statements may be, they are nevertheless true. Anyway, you and I have made no way at all. That's disgusting nonsense. Because, let me tell you, Mr. Astley, with flashing eyes, pronounced in a quivering voice. Let me tell you, you ungrateful, unworthy, shallow, and unhappy man, that I am come to Homburg expressly at her wish, to see you, to have a long and open conversation with you, and to tell her everything, what you are feeling, thinking, hoping, and what you remember. Is it possible? Is it possible? I cried, and tears rushed in streams from my eyes. I could not restrain them. I believe it was the first time it happened in my life. Yes, unhappy man, she loved you, and I can tell you that because you are a lost man. What is more, if I were to tell you that she loves you to this day, you would stay here just the same. Yes, you have destroyed yourself. You had some abilities, a lively disposition, and were not a bad fellow. You might have even been of service to your country, which is in such need of men. But you will remain here, and your life is over. I don't blame you. To my mind, all Russians are like that, or disposed to be like that. If it is not roulette, it is something similar. The exceptions are very rare. You are not the first who does not understand the meaning of work. I am not talking of your peasantry. Roulette is a game preeminently for the Russians. So far you've been honest and preferred serving as a lackey to stealing, but I dread to think what may come in the future. Enough. Goodbye. No doubt you are in want of money. Here are 10 louis d'or from me. I won't give you more, for you'll gamble it away in any case. Take it, and goodbye. Take it. No, Mr. Astley, after all you have said. Take it, he cried. I believe that you are still an honourable man, and I give it as a true friend gives to another friend. If I were sure that you would throw up gambling, leave Hamburg, and would return to your own country, I would be ready to give you at once 1,000 pounds to begin a new career. But I don't give you 1,000 pounds. I give you only 10 louis d'or, just because 1,000 pounds and 10 louis d'or are just the same to you now. It's all the same. You'll gamble it away. Take it, and goodbye. I will take it if you will let me embrace you at parting. Oh, with pleasure. We embraced with sincere feeling, and Mr. Astley went away. No, he is wrong. If I was crude and silly about Polina and de Grue, he was crude and hasty about Russians. I say nothing of myself. However, all that is not the point for the time. That is all words, words, and words. Deeds are what are wanted. Switzerland is the great thing now. Tomorrow... Oh, if only it were possible to set off tomorrow. To begin anew, to rise again. I must show them. Let Polina know that I still can be a man. I have only to... But now it's too late. But tomorrow... Oh, I have a presentiment, and it cannot fail to be. I have now 15 louis d'or, and I have begun with 15 gulden. If one begins carefully... And can I be such a baby? Can I fail to understand that I am a lost man, but... Can I not rise again? Yes. I have only for once in my life to be prudent and patient, and that is all. I have only for once to show will-power, and in 1 hour I can transform my destiny. The great thing is will-power. Only remember what happened to me 7 months ago at Roulettenberg, just before my final failure. Oh, it was a remarkable instance of determination. I had lost everything then, everything. I was going out of the casino. I looked. There was still 1 gulden in my waistcoat pocket. Then I shall have something for dinner, I thought. But after I had gone 100 paces, I changed my mind and went back. I staked that gulden on Monk. That time it was on Monk. And there really is something peculiar in the feeling when, alone in a strange land, far from home and from friends, not knowing whether you will have anything to eat that day, you stake your last gulden, your very last. I won, and 20 minutes later I went out of the casino, having 170 gulden in my pocket. That's a fact. That's what the last gulden can sometimes do. And what if I had lost heart then? What if I had not dared to risk it? Tomorrow, Tomorrow it will all be over." This concludes The Gambler. I will be appending one final video to this sequence with some concluding thoughts on the novella. You are welcome to join me there. Otherwise, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this Let's Read experience.